Hello folks, this is Margie Roy from 3dcuts.com, and today I'm going to be doing the video tutorial for the bank that goes to Tea Light Village. This is one of my additions for 2022. Tea Light Village is a collection of many buildings that's been around since 2013, and I've been adding buildings to it every year. You should go to my website at the address shown on the screen to look for additional information added onto this tutorial. I put updates there. Also on my website at this address is a page where I share photographs of how people have made and displayed their tea light villages. You will find all kinds of creative approaches to this particular project. Be sure to check that out and get inspired. On this one, I have not yet removed it from my mat. I did cut it. I used the Nina cardstock that I recommend for this project. I used a Silhouette premium blade to cut this, and it cut really nicely. I did use the overcut feature. I'm showing it to you on the mat because as you peel this one off, first of all, when you peel these, it is best to peel the mat away from the cardstock and not the other way around. It doesn't curl as much. But you need to be aware of this little part right here. If it sticks to your mat, it can tear, and you don't want that to happen. So peel very carefully and don't let the pieces get torn apart by a fast pull. There's another one right over here as well, the two sides of the front. If they tear, you can repair it, but it does make putting it together, it makes the alignment a little tougher. There we go. These are the little parts here that I was worried about. Got to treat it with care until you've got that together. This piece is a template for making the pillars. This is the roof. This is the triangle for the front. Okay, now let's start picking out the windows. There we go. Now, the first thing I do on all of my tea light villages is I cover the inside of the windows with wax paper. You can use wax paper, you can use parchment paper, you can use tracing paper, whatever you have that'll make it translucent so the light does not come all the way through. We just want the light to be muted, otherwise it looks too bright. I cut pieces for each of these windows, and I glue them into place. The glue I'm using is art glitter glue. There is no glitter in it. I transfer it to these little tubes, which I get online from Amazon. I find them very easy to use, and I like this glue a lot because it doesn't dry instantly, but it dries quickly. I do groups of windows together like this. It makes the light in Tea Light Village, if you light it, a whole lot more subtle. Be careful on the door to not glue it over the openings of the door. It will prevent it from being open. Okay, on the outside here, this triangle will get glued into the center of the triangle on the front. Just a little bit of decoration. In addition to prep, we have to make the columns that are going to go onto the front of our bank. I make the columns out of white copy paper that's a similar brightness to the cardstock that I'm using. Cardstock doesn't curl particularly well, and the paper is plenty strong enough. I'm going to take this and I'm going to curl it over the edge of my desk to give it a little bit of a curl. I have a 10-penny finish nail here. It'd be nice if it was a little longer, but it's what I had. You want something tiny and round from your stash to use to help you guide this. Now I have made a little template here to help us with sizing. The hardest part is getting it started. And then we roll it around like so. Use this. This is the same size hole as these are. I'm going to put it through it. The 10-penny nail is nice because it's a little bit too small, so I can get it in there. Whoops. And I then let it open up to the size of that hole. I would like my 4 columns to be similar in size, and this is a way to do that. I then take my glue and run a thin line right inside that, and I hold it. Art glitter glue sticks after about 4 seconds. So you hold it till about the count of 4, and then that's good. Make sure it comes off, and there is column 1. I'm going to turn off the camera and make the other 4 columns. You should do the same. There, my 4 columns are now made. I'll put those to the side until I need them. Now it's time to start folding. This is the outside. I'm going to flip it over to the inside, and I'm going to fold back all of the tabs. There are dotted fold lines. My machine does not have a scoring option, so I use the dotted fold lines. I find them most universal. There, I think I've got them all now. I am going to start by gluing this eave here and get the roof onto it to start supporting these side walls. So I'm going to start by putting the art glitter glue onto this tab. On a lot of my earlier designs, I used score tape, and I do like score tape an awful lot, but it is permanent as soon as you touch it. You don't have any room for misplacement, and art glitter glue gives you a few seconds if you haven't placed it well. So get it there, make sure things are even, and count to 4. Then do the next one. There's one I forgot to fold. There's always one. Okay, now I'm going to do the peak of the other end of the bank. This is the back side. Okay, on this front wall, the first fold here goes in opposite the other. The second fold goes back out again. This is to make the overhang right here. And at the bottom, the one right at the base of the door comes toward the front, and the rest go towards the back. Now I am going to continue gluing this side on. This long tab here on the roof and the tab on the back wall both get glue. I'm going to bring this around, line up my edges. And give it the 4-second squeeze to hold it in place. That one's not quite square, so I'm sliding it in to make it square. Okay, now we are going to glue the top of the pillars back. There is a little tab on both ends, and we're going to put glue on those. Just a little bit here, and just a little bit here. Get those back on the inside and square. And those are hard to reach and pinch. I have a dental tool here to help me reach awkward places like this. I can get into the inside and press against it. Making sure things are square. Now, this front should be a little bit shorter than the side walls. Now I'm going to glue the side walls in place, this long edge here, and the same thing on the other side. Slide those into place, and again, the side walls hang down further than the front at this point. If you want the doors to be open, now is a good time to fold them in. I like them to be partially open, not totally open. Now the bottom, which is the front door stoop, we don't do all of it, we do part of it before we thread in the pillars. This side panel tab has a bend in the middle. And the little tab, we are going to glue the little tabs first. This one and this one. Fold this back, down, and squeeze. And the same on the other end. It's a place where you'd like to have 3 hands, which is often true in crafting. Sometimes, on these little ones, a pair of tweezers to help you squeeze is a good thing. Okay, I'm going to open that up. Now it's time to thread our 4 pillars in from the bottom. They are too long, and that's okay. We'll snip them off afterwards. You pick, if your pillar has an obviously skinnier end, and some will, you pick that and thread it first. It goes through the bottom hole, and you twist it slightly, trying not to squeeze it or bend it or put kinks in it. And the seam goes back toward the building so we won't see it, like so. You do that with all 4 of the pillars. Just thread them right in there. If you're having a hard time, you can put your nail back into the center to help you move it a little further without bending it. Okay, now if any of your pillars got bent, you can put this in and push against it to help smooth them out a little bit. You will see, as I said, that they are all too long. So I'm going to take a pair of small scissors and cut them off about 1/8 of an inch below the floor. Like so. It looks like my front tabs came undone in all of that maneuvering. Probably shouldn't have done them till afterwards. So I will again glue them into place. And now these two wide tabs right here on the inside, you put glue and you wrap those around and they go to either side of the door on the front. The bottom of this front stoop should now line up with the side edges of your house, your bank. I've got this little tab here to tuck in here, give it a little bit of glue, tuck it in for the ending. There we go. And the last piece is putting on the roof. There's a score line down the middle. You fold it. The roof will hang over equidistant between the front and the back. You put glue onto the building. Both sides. Position the peak first, front to back, press it into place, check it out, and doesn't that look like a bank? I often include little accessories to go with the different buildings. Along with the bank, I have included the picket fence, the city bench, and the tree. You'll see these in a lot of my tea light villages, and they all go together in similar ways. I'll show you here. The tree has two dotted lines, score lines going up through the center. You fold on both of them, making a spine up the back. You do that on both halves. Then I'm going to take my art glitter glue and run just a line of glue down this spine. Take the two halves and glue them together, lining up the bottoms. After they're dry, you can separate out the four sides and make a tree that will stand up. The bench is made up of two tiny pieces. We've got the back and the sides. Very tiny fold here and here to bring those to the front like this. When it's done, it will look like this. The side bench, it folds down at about 1/8 inch from the side like that. And the same on the other side, like so. I'm going to take my glitter glue and put that on this end here and glue that to the bottom inside of one of the ends here. And then put glue on the other two legs here. Glue on this U piece and bring that over. Line up the legs in the bottom and glue that one in place. Now with this, you can set up a little diorama around your bank, kind of like a park next door. You will find that if you just put these out like this, every time a wind goes by, they all blow away. So that what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my picket fence and I'm going to paste a little bit of it here, and I'm going to have it go out, and I'm going to glue this to the fence to hold it in place so that when it's part of my setup, it doesn't fly away all of the time. I think I'm going to put my fence to be about that long. You can also, depending on how you've set up your village, have your whole village, your main street set up with little picket fences between each of the buildings. And then you can have these attached to the picket fences. But if you leave them just freestanding, they get lost. So I am going to line up the bottoms of these and glue my little bench right to my picket fence. Here we go. And then I'm going to glue, cut a little of that off, glue my picket fence right to the side of my bank. How you put these together and how you arrange them is totally up to you as the creator. So it doesn't have to be the same as mine. But like that. With the tree behind it. And you can't see that from the upper view, but I'll show you a photograph so you'll see what it looks like. But it is a great little town center scene. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Make them the same length. There we go. There's the bench on the other side. And here are the two new buildings for 2022 for Tea Light Village. We have the coffee shop and the bank, and a variety of accessories to go with both. If you want to add lights to your Tea Light Village, there are two ways to do it. You can use the individual little tea lights that light up and have batteries in them. The village was designed for these to fit inside them quite nicely. Or if you're going to have a bunch of them, you can use one of these LED string lights that has 50 lights on it. This runs by a remote, and it's easier to turn them on and off with the remote than turning on and off all of these little tea lights. I have links to these at my website, and this is how I light up my tea light village. Lighting it is optional, but it certainly makes a stunning display when you do add lights. I'd love to see photographs of your tea light village set up. Please send them to me at 3dcuts.com. Thanks for watching, and happy crafting, everyone. Have a great day.